Hey guys, it's Rich, and in this Tarot Talk Tuesday, I am reviewing the Bonefire Tarot. This is published by Schiffer. It is made by Gabby Angus West, and nice little flip-top box, hard cardboard, nicely displayed. No complaints on that. One complaint on the packaging itself is getting the book out is kind of a little bit difficult, but that's okay. You can add a ribbon in there if you want, or just take the book out and that's it. The cards, whenever they're in here, they kind of slide around, but that's okay because my tarot probably, especially this deck, will not live in the box. So one thing I will say about this is whenever you get it, the deck has like a little I think this one was a paper band that was around the cards. They come in two separate packs. I think it's the majors and then the minors is how it comes in the pack. I could be wrong on that. I opened this a little while ago. I've looked through the cards a couple times. I haven't really worked with these cards because I wanted to keep them in order so I can do the review and then I can start working with the cards. The actual insert, you can take the insert out. I would prefer an insert that if you do keep your cards in, that has it where all the cards can fit in and maybe the box is a little deeper. That's the only takeaway that I have about this packaging. Again, very cutely done. Nice little ribbon to open it with, and nice little stays right here with the ribbons. So nice packaging, very well done. I like that. Thank you, Schiffer. Thank you, Gabby, for your input on the packaging, if that was a choice of yours. I don't know exactly whenever it goes to publishing if the publisher dictates what type of packaging it goes into or if that's the artist's request. So either way, whoever's responsible for the packaging, very well done. I have very little complaints about it. Like I said, the only complaint was the depth for the cards to all fit in in one pack, and the book being able to come out easier. So no, not really big deals. Not anything that I can really that will really hinder my ability to get cards out and read them. And I also wanted to add that with the little band on there, I do like that some tarot decks are starting to do that. Some have a paper band, some have a plastic band. The only thing about that is sometimes they can damage the cards if you don't have them like in the usual cellophane or in the usual plastic packaging. But these ones came in really good condition, so no complaints about that. They were packed very well. And I like that they are reducing their carbon footprint of sorts with doing the paper or plastic band rather than all of the plastic that goes into making a package to go around all of the cards. So, I like that aspect. Nicely done. Before I get into the book, I do want to say that this deck came out in 2016, and there are so many people talking about this deck. I think this is going to be one of those decks that people will continuously go out and get because this is a nicely done deck. I love the symbolism in it. But a little bit about the book before we get into the deck. So, a nice substantial sized book. It is, let's see here, almost 200 pages, if not right on 200 pages. It's sectioned off into different parts. Gabby takes a couple pages to talk about herself and her practice, and if I'm getting pronouns wrong, I am so sorry. And then it goes directly into the cards. So it goes into the major arcana first. So, I have talked before on doing minor arcanas before major arcanas. This is the typical way that a tarot companion book goes. Is usually with the majors first and then the minors, and a lot of other tarot books go that way too. I do like to give the minor arcana their due first, but that's just a personal preference. Nothing that I can't live without. This book is done in full color, as you can see. color everywhere. Black, red, and full color for the photos. So I do like that, and I'm looking on my notes over here. It gives a glossary of symbols in the very back. So every little thing that is put into these cards has a meaning, which I absolutely love. So there's the glossary of symbols that it gives. And yeah, let me just pick one out here. It says, let's see, anchor, laying down roots, feeling stuck, stability. And it gives like a little blurb on each one that, you know, that little kind of key phrases that each symbol in these cards can represent. So that's something that if you are really delving deep into symbolism is very much appreciated, especially with a deck like this that is so, I don't want to say inundated, but so rich with symbolism. There is so much symbolism in this deck that Gabby has put in there that I'm absolutely loving. So I am a lover of symbols and symbology. So anyway, I got a little ahead of myself. The spreads, she gives 3 spreads in here, which are always appreciated. Let me see what kind of spreads they are, because I didn't write that down in my notes because I am a terrible note taker. Let's see, it gives the 1 card spread, it gives a 3 card spread, and it gives an 8 card Enlightener spread, which, you know what, I don't think I've ever seen one like this. So I'm kind of actually enjoying this, that there's a spread that is not common to tarot decks. I'm really loving this. And not only did she give the spread, she also gave a picture of the spread and all of the attributes in the Bonefire Tarot theme. So I'm absolutely loving that. And whenever she does the majors and minors, the majors have about 2 pages each, and the minors have about a page and a half-ish. So I really enjoy how much there is given in the book itself. I haven't really gotten a chance to read this. Again, I kind of got this. I looked through the book, I looked through the deck, and then I wanted to make sure the deck was all in order so I can do the reveal, and then I will actually go through and work with this deck more. So let's go ahead and get on into the deck. And I'll bring you guys on down so you can see from a viewpoint of the cards themselves. So a little bit about the cards themselves before we get too deep into the whole reveal is I want to show you guys how thick these cards are. These cards are majorly thick. This is a Rider-Waite-Smith deck from US Games, one of the newer styles that don't have the thick plastic coating on it that I did a review on earlier, or not really a review, but a little tangent about it. So there's the thickness, the difference in the thickness. These cards are majorly thick. These ones, I don't think they're going to be too difficult to shuffle. I haven't shuffled them yet, nor will I do that until the very end, because I don't want to get them out of order. A little bit about the size is they are wider. You can't really, I mean, I guess you could go borderless with these, but I don't think you would really want to, because of that they don't have a distinct border, and I'll get into that in a second. But yeah, they are majorly wide, which seems to be a going thing with certain decks out there that you'll see in future reveals. But yes, majorly wide. Not sure how I feel about that. And if you were to go borderless, you would still have some width to the deck that isn't necessarily your normal tarot size. So anyway, also on the length, let me just show you guys like this. They're a little bit shorter than the normal, quote-unquote normal, Rider-Waite-Smith size. So, a little bit on that. The coating is a nice plastic coating like the older Rider-Waite-Smith, not the newer ones. I love the thick plastic coating to them. it just gives me a sense of, if they get a little bit of water on them, you can just shake it off, and the card will still be okay. It gives me that sense, not that I would ever want to get anything on my cards, but that plastic coating is much appreciated. It has a little bit of a gloss, so if you really don't like glossy pictures, then this deck might not be for you. But let's go ahead and get on into the reveal in its entirety. Okay, so now we have the Rider-Waite-Smith and we have the Bonefire Tarot. Like I said, you don't really want to go borderless because you run the risk of them not all being even on this one that doesn't have a distinctive border. It kind of just like goes into black. And the thing about this deck is that it's all like tattoo art. It's kind of edgy. It's kind of really different than what most tarot decks are like. So let me go ahead and try to get that a little bit centered for you guys. And let's go ahead and go on through this. Like I said, I love the symbolism of this deck. It is completely rich with symbols and it's kind of edgy. I'm not a big tattoo art fan, but I see the beauty in this and I'm absolutely loving it. Now, one thing I want to say about this one and point out about the symbolism is, this is very much a symbol of the resting phase with the Four of Swords. I really kind of love this. Just the relaxation portion of, getting into that deep, warm bubble bath. I love the symbolism that she has put into this deck. I think it's very appropriate. These are the types of things that go throughout the entire deck, is that she takes her own spin on it, but it's very appropriate in the way that she does it. And everything that is involved in this deck has a reason. It definitely has a why behind what is done. So I'm absolutely loving that. Now, one thing I'll say about the wands is instead of actually doing wands, like are usually done in a lot of other decks, she has done kind of like pine cones that are on fire. And I like that she took her own interpretation or her own liberties in this. I'm really kind of liking that. It makes it a little difficult to decipher whenever you're first looking at it, but once I noticed what was going on there, it's like, oh, okay, I get it, and I moved on, and it was just fine. I really like the liberties that were taken here, and I like how they are all appropriate in the way that they were done. This deck is very edgy. It is very appropriate in the way it's done. I have no complaints about this deck, except for me, I would have to learn all these symbols before I incorporate it as a primary reading deck, or one of my primary reading decks, you know, because I have several that I like to read with. There are so many different symbols involved in this deck that for me to just grab it out of the box and go with it, it would be a little bit more difficult. But for you, it might not be. So I think that's on a case-by-case basis. Not a deck that I would, you know, grab right out of the box and start reading with. But I will definitely be going through and looking at all the symbolism and, you know, journaling about it, using them as prompts for, you know, what does that mean to me type of thing. So I really like that there is so much symbolism in this deck. I really cannot even begin to describe how much I'm loving that. Again, I'm not really into tattoo art or the little edginess that is in here. It's kind of like the Deviant Moon. Not really fully my style of artwork, but I do very much appreciate it. Every once in a while I like the edginess that comes along with the tarot deck, because my readings are very much in your face type of readings. Like, this is what you're doing, you're screwing up, you need to fix this, this, and this, or else this will happen. So for my type of readings, where my cards will tell you what, you know, you need to hear rather than what you want to hear, that I think this deck would be very appropriate for that. So I really like the edginess whenever it comes to that. But again, not fully my taste in art, but I'm really digging it. I can't describe it. It's whenever you like a painting, but you're not quite ready to hang it up in your house. You know? Like, the Mona Lisa is a great painting, but do I really want to hang it up in my house? Nah. I can admire it, but I don't want to hang it up. So, it's kind of that conundrum. So that is the Bonefire Tarot. Let me get the Rider-Waite-Smith out of the way, because I have several reviews to do today. So how does it shuffle? Let's see. I have not shuffled these yet, so a little bit more difficult because they are a little wider. Usually, like right about here is where I can go over, so I have to go up a little bit more. So something I'm going to have to train myself to do with this deck. Shuffles nicely on that aspect. Let's see. How's the bridge? A little stiff. Again, these are never shuffled before, so you know, you kind of have to break them in. I like to bridge shuffle. They do stick together a little bit, but again, new deck. There. Second one, a little bit better. as far as the thickness, just a little bit on the thicker side that it makes it a little bit more difficult to shuffle. But I can learn to live with that. Not a lot of give to them, but that's because they're thicker and they're brand new. So, yeah, that is the Bonefire Tarot. Oh, and if I didn't say so already, it is fully reversible on the back. I really appreciate that because I do read reversals. Gabby says in her book that she doesn't read reversals, but I believe she gives a little blurb on reversals. And it says, at this point I will talk about reversals and Bonefire Tarot. I do not read them myself. My deck is always kept in a good right-up order. She goes on to say, I will read one if it has happened to step out of line. The card backs are pretty much, if not totally reversible. I prefer to see all viewpoints in the card right way on. I have endeavored to make Bonefire Tarot imagery balanced and neutral. Perhaps it is a symptom of my innate pessimism, but I can never make a straightforward happy card. There is always a built-in but. Though I do temper this by giving the more neutrally negative cards their own silver lining. So perhaps each card is its own yin-yang, a dot of card in the light and a spot of light in the darkness. As I keep saying, I am on the fence, though please reverse away if you will. I just find the imagery so hard to read upside down and such, less intuitive. So she does not primarily read reversals like I do. I love reading reversals because I think it gives a little bit more. And, you know, that's just me. That's the way I read. So if you wish to reverse it, reverse away. The imagery, you know, is meant to read upright. But I think you can definitely read reversals on these cards. Or even if you don't, you can definitely see the light and dark with it, even if it's upright. So I think these cards are fantastic. I love the way that everything's presented in the book. I'm loving the packaging, even though they probably will never live in the box once I start using them. So absolutely loving that. Like I said, whenever you put the cards in the package, you kind of have to split up the deck for them to fit. So, just like that. Right on in there. Like I said, I wish they just put a little ribbon right there, but no big deal. I can live without that. And this is just, this is killing me. It's awesome. I love this. So, I think Arwen calls it the bra straps. Loving that. So, anyway, that is the Bonefire Tarot for your Tarot Talk this week. And if you would like to see more, you can see my other Tarot Talk videos in the series. And I have a lot of tarot reviews coming up. I have a huge stack here, so stay tuned. Every Tuesday, I'll have a new deck, at least until the end of the year. And probably well into next year. So, yeah, I have a lot of decks to review. But this is the first of a long line of them. So, yes, that is all that I have to say about the Bonefire Tarot. Until next time, may you guys have love, hugs, and ladybugs. Bye-bye.